As Cush arrived, music was playing, and the warriors were praising Sabaoth as they began to depart.
Is my living in vain? Is my giving in vain? Is my praying in vain? Is my fasting in vain? Am I wasting my time? Can the clock be rewind? Have I let my light shine? Have I made 99? No, was not. It's not all in vain. No. Look the road. Is it not okay?
Mammalean saw them, Gemini and Cush. Fancy seeing you two together. Cush smiled, Mammalean, I came as quickly as possible. But I had to help Big Ma, but she sent some supplies for ya and some jelly cake. Mammalean smiled, sit down and have a piece with me. Walking over to a basket, she looked at Gemini. Here, Gemini, I got you some fresh green apples. Sitting down and eating the cake, Mammalean said, now, let's see, where were we? The last place I left off, Deke and Dasinga had just officially met, and he spent all night at work telling her about the Torah? Cush said, yes, I remember. Mammalean said. Well, one night, while waiting for her to come to work, he happily approached her car. He walked up to her and opened her door. She took one leg out and paused, then she took the other leg and stood up. Are you wearing those rainbow panties for me? He said. She blushed, yes, I am. Dasinga could always make her smile or laugh, and it always delighted her to see him. Dasinga was always serious, and many saw that he was a little perky and always smiling at work, but he had never seen the look many of the men were giving him, but he didn't care either. One day Decay said, these men are all talking bad about you in front of me. He simply replied, some men are like women and simply are jealous. They will get over it after a while. Nevertheless, after a while, never came. He overheard some men and coworkers saying, how is it, a simple-minded man like that get such a beautiful girl? However, he kept on about his business. Dasinga complained one night about how he was hungry, tired, and didn't want to work that night, and Decay said, I get off early tonight. If you can come over, I can cook you something to eat. Dasinga said, let me make a round or two, and I'll be there around midnight. He made his rounds and grabbed the keys from one of the security guards. Cover me for a while. I have to do something important, and be back around 1 or 2. The other security guard said, cool. Back then, you had to have a driver's license to drive any vehicle, unlike today, and so that was one strike against him, driving without a license, and he drove to Deke's house, and they talked and laughed. By this time, it was 2 in the morning for he had lost track of time. Deke said, where's my manners? Let me cook something to eat. Looking in the refrigerator, she found some frozen chicken breast. When I said frozen, it was hard as a rock. She asked, you like fried chicken? She took the frozen chicken and covered it in flour, and I mean no seasoning, just flour, and Dasinga sat there and watched with amusement. He said nothing for fear of making her feel embarrassed, until the grease started to smell burnt, and he asked politely, do you know what you're doing, baby? Smiling but also having a serious look on her face, yes, I do. Dasinga began to laugh inside but quickly took over and turned down the fire. Baby, you're going to burn these damn apartments down with your kind of cooking, and the grease has been hot enough a long time ago? She dropped that frozen chicken breast in the oil, and it just started popping and cracking, and smoke quickly filled the room. Dasinga opened the door to the apartment as the smoke detector went off. He took it down and saw that it embarrassed her because the chicken was black as midnight and raw in the middle. Dasinga, trying to make her feel a little better, one thing I know, you like me, as much as I like you, but ain't no way in hell I'm going to eat that shit. What is that called, blackened chicken? They laughed as the smoke cleared the room, and Decay said, "Why didn't you stop me, if you knew I was doing it wrong?" He smiled, "I did. Kind of, I asked you, did you know what you were doing? You're from the islands and I thought that maybe, just maybe, you guys had a secret recipe." She looked at him, "Okay, no, I didn't." She laughed, "Well, we can talk for a spell." Shaking his head, "Yes, we can talk, but leave the cooking to me, from now on." After a small conversation about music and writing, Decay asks, "Can you recite a poem for me since you write? You talking about me and my cooking, let's me see if you can write." Dasinga insists that his book of songs and poetry was at home. She smiled, "If you're good, just make one up." Dasinga sees the moon shining brightly through the window behind her and says, "Midnight lover." A sparkle of the moon's rays shines upon your lips. Your eyes glitter, as I move toward your hips. A beautiful smile comes upon your face. The night air blows, so gentle against our bodies. As the temperature rises, I stare, you stare, into each other's eyes. Heartbeats races, sweat begins to pour. As you and I making love, in the great outdoors. The air, that whistles through the trees, are our covers. Midnight moon, midnight breeze. Baby, I'm your midnight lover.